homegirls. It's your homegirl. Today I'm not doing my hair because my braids are still intact. I actually need to probably take them down this weekend, but for today they're doing good, so we're gonna keep it that way. Um, so I do want to talk about not voting for Kanye West. I repeat, do not vote for Kanye West. I know people are laughing at him and they think like, oh, he might just be joking or whatever the case may be. I don't care if he's joking. I don't care if he's serious. I don't care if the birthday party turns out to be a real thing and you think like, oh, I'm not really sure about Joe and I'm definitely not voting for Trump, or I'm not definitely not voting for Joe and I'm not sure about Trump. Whichever way your mind is, if you're in the middle, do not vote for Kanye West. A vote for any third party candidate takes away from the person who could possibly win. Now, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. Although I have my opinions, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. But voting for a third party candidate takes those votes that could be going towards a popular vote for the candidate that you want away, and could possibly give the vote to the candidate that you don't want in your state. So, like, the way voting for president and vice president work, and this is only for president and vice president, the people in the state, except for Maine and Nebraska, but and mostly every other state, the people in the state vote for a candidate, whoever they want the candidate to be, whether it's Trump or Biden, right? Because unfortunately, we live in a country that has a two-party system, and we don't have any other system. That's the only system we have, and whether you like it or not, that's what it is in America. And at this point, we're in dire need of somebody who can turn it all around. Like, they don't have to be the greatest person in the world. They don't have to provide the most hope in the world. But we do need them, whoever the candidate is going to be, and their vice president, to be able to make rational decisions. It makes no sense that America, one of the greatest countries in the world, whether you like it or not, whether you want to be from here or not, whatever the case may be, one of the greatest countries in America, is still having a surge in coronavirus cases. Like, we should have been able to come out of the house by now. There shouldn't be this rogue thing happening where everybody is kind of like every man for themselves, and then they trying to send the kids back to school, and it's like a couple kids might die, but I mean, hey, life goes on. It's kind of the attitude of the government, which shouldn't be the attitude of the government, but the government right now, unfortunately, is not ran by people who are compassionate and who care about other people's lives. Because the thing to be in politics, I think, to be a good politician, not saying that, I mean, you can feel how you feel about politics, but I personally believe in order to be a good politician, you have to have a level of empathy and compassion. You cannot run the country like a business, which is why a lot of people voted for Trump initially. They was like, he gonna run the country like a business, and then we're gonna have, a surging economy that he inherited from Obama. By the way, do not let him have you thinking he created this economy, because he did not. Obama has steady numbers for years, so he just kept the momentum of Obama until the pandemic. And people had to stop working. And then it was like, what are you going to do? We're in a great recession. It hasn't been this bad since the Depression of the 1920s. And it's overwhelmingly frustrating. So they look at things like the people dying from coronavirus, like, oh, the margin is low, it's only like 0.3% or something like that, they say, right? Those are human lives. It's not like, oh, we lost 0.3% of earnings this month in a company. You're like, oh, we have 99.7%. We're still on top or whatever. It's like, no, we are losing 0.3% lives. Like, people are dying. And it's so frustrating that the government and this administration is kind of just like, well, they're casualties of war. It's like, they didn't ask for this. They have no say in this coronavirus. They have no say in what happens. I'm not talking about the people who refuse to wear a mask or, you know, refuse to stay at home in quarantine or decide they're going to go to a party. And I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who genuinely took all precautions and still ended up with coronavirus because they couldn't miss work, or they're essential and they're still not getting paid enough. Like, essential workers are not even getting hazard pay. And it stresses me out because there's no reason the death toll should be 140,000 plus. There's no reason that we should have never flattened the curve before we reopened, and now we're spiking higher than we were in April. Like, I don't want to be in the house forever. Like, I really, really, really don't. But the possibility of it seems real because nobody wants to work together and get a hold of this thing, and it's so frustrating. Anyway, this video is not about coronavirus, but coronavirus is like super stressful. So we have somebody who's currently running the country like a business. This is not a business. People are not profit and loss margins. People are actual people who live and breathe and contribute to society and want to see this place a better place and want to live for their kids and their grandkids. So when you think about that, and then you think about the other candidate, and I know people have their things with Joe Biden, like he wrote the crime bill. Yes, he wrote the crime bill, but once he became vice president, he tried to reverse a lot of the things that was in the crime bill because he realized that, it just wasn't conducive to life. Like, it was so targeted to minorities and black people especially, but brown people too. It was such a targeted thing that maybe, I don't know, maybe people were just delusional and didn't realize at the time. Like, of course, we didn't put crack in our communities. We didn't put crime in our communities. But if there's no other options, what are you going to do? And instead of providing resources, like now, 30 years later, they see that they should be doing, they just was like, oh, well, they're criminals and send them to jail. But, he tried to rectify it. I have my own qualms with Biden personally, but I feel of the two, he's the best and he's the most open and he's the one that maybe can make some change if we demand it and keep, like, you have to press these people to get the change you want, because sometimes they just don't even care about you as a person. So you have to, like, demand these changes you wish to see. But okay, so we have Biden, we have Trump. So say for instance, your state has 10 people, right? And so 5 people vote for Trump. No, let's say they have 11 people. 5 people vote for Trump, so it's 6 people left. Those 6 people can vote for Biden, and Biden wins all the electorates in your state, which means that the Democratic electorals go to the state capitol in December, and they cast their vote for Biden. Or Trump, or the 5 people vote for Trump, 4 people vote for Biden, 2 people vote for Kanye West. Guess which electors are going to the state capitol in December to cast their vote? The people on the Republican side, because majority of the people voted for Trump, which is essentially how third party work. Not saying that third party people could necessarily, not saying that those 2 who voted for Kanye West were necessarily going to vote for Biden, but the fact that they did not choose one of the main 2-party candidates Trump automatically wins. So the thing is, the people who are indecisive about Biden are comfortable enough to think that Kanye West could evoke some kind of change. Okay, so I live by the airport. It's a lot of planes going over. Anyway, like I was saying, so Kanye West didn't make it on the ballot in South Carolina, which I'm really happy about. But he still could make it on the ballot in other states. And then in swing states, it's especially important. So swing states are like Michigan, Pennsylvania, I think sometimes Vermont. I'm not really sure. But mostly the Midwest has a lot of swing states. That rural area of America, the Dakotas, do the Dakotas even exist? But anyway, like states like that, they swing either way because they kind of like are, I wouldn't say they're one issue voters, but a lot of people are one issue voters, and a lot of people vote based on the economy. So if they feel like they're swimming in debt or whatever the case, they're gonna flop, change parties or whatever they feel, whoever they feel like it's. So if a Republican is in office and they feel like it's not working, they haven't seen their personal situation financially change, then they'll vote Democrat and vice versa. So I think like in those states, it's super important to be sure of who you're voting for because Trump has his base. He has his base. They're going to vote for him come hell or high water. They are Jonestown, okay? Like, they're in it with him, But I feel like a lot of people who are not Trump loyalists are not really motivated. Other than the fact that they're never Trumpers. And some people are not even never Trumpers because they don't see anything wrong with what he's doing. Which is scary. But people are entitled to feel how they feel. We live in a democracy. You can vote however you choose to vote. That's the beauty of a democracy. But I would say voting third party is irresponsible. I think it is a wasted vote. This is just my personal opinion. I feel like it's a wasted vote. And I feel like it's selfish. It is selfish of someone to vote third party because they don't want to make a decision. Which is like, I don't really want to vote for me, so I'm just going to vote this way. Because you kind of throw your vote away because you feel like it doesn't matter. But it matters. I'm California, we have Democratic. We always vote Democrat in California. Some counties do vote Republican, but majority of the popular vote in California always go to the Democratic nominee. So for me, I don't really have anything to worry about. So California always vote Democratic, but you have certain states where people don't know how they're going to vote. And I just feel like if you're a minority, any states that are swing states, you have an obligation to take your vote more seriously and vote in a way that will bring some kind of hope to the future. Because if you're old enough to vote, you have responsibility to people who are not old enough to vote. Like I was having a conversation with my niece who's 11. So I was having a conversation with my niece who's 11. And we were talking about voting. And she was talking about how Trump isn't, like, she don't understand why people voted for Trump. And I'm like trying to explain it to her in a way where she can understand. But it's still like, I don't understand either. I can't say why people voted. Anyway, so if you're in a swing state, if you're in a state where sometimes your electorates go to Republicans and sometimes they go to Democrats, you have to be really responsible with your vote, which is basically just my message. Be responsible with your vote. Also, oh my God, these planes are so freaking annoying. And it's like fighter jets sometimes, and this plane has been flying over, and I don't know if somebody's learning to fly or what, but it's really annoying. But, if you live in Maine or Nebraska, so the way your state works is you have the electoral college and the electorates who cast their vote for the popular vote in your state. It's only 2 in each state. The other ones, however many Congress people you have in your state. So I think in Nebraska it's 3 congressional districts, and I think in Maine is 2 congressional districts. So the popular vote in those districts are the electors that go to the state in December and cast their vote. So say for instance in Nebraska, if the popular vote is Democratic, right? And you have your the 2 that cast their vote Democratic because that's the popular vote in the state. But all 3 counties, the popular vote is Republican, or in 2 counties the popular vote is Republican. Then you have 2 Republican electorals go, and then 1 other Democratic electorate go. If that make, like, you get what I'm saying, if that makes sense. So you end up having 5 votes casted, but 3 are towards the Democrats and 2 are towards Republicans. So like say if Biden has 260, let's say he have 266 electoral votes, and Trump has 268 electoral votes, and we're waiting on Nebraska. So although the Nebraska is Democratic, and they have that 1 congressional district that votes Democratic, but the other 2 vote Republican, and so that makes Biden's electoral votes come up to 269, but it will put Trump at 270, and you need 270 or more to win. So you have to, so like in those states, if you live in Nebraska and you care about the state of the world, think about that when you go in to vote. Same thing with Maine. They get the 2 electoral college votes and then the 2 congressional district votes for the electoral. So say for instance if 1 is Democratic and 1 is Republican, and in the state votes Republican. So they already have the 2 Republican electoral votes because that's how the whole state voted. That was the popular vote in the whole state. But then they have the 1 district that voted Republican, which was the popular vote. So now that's 3 Republican electors and only 1 Democratic. So you just have to be really sure that you're sure when you go in the voting booth and you know who you're voting for. So although we don't technically vote for president, we do vote for the popular. We do cast our votes, and the popular votes for president, unless your electorate goes rogue. But most of the time electors have integrity and they're stand-up people, and they vote how they're supposed to vote. So that's what we need to think about. And in our next political chat, we'll probably be breaking down some of these ballots. I'm going to pull up California first because I'm from California, to see what's important on our ballot and see how we should be voting down ballot, see who's running for Senate, who's running for Congress, whatever, and just vote how we vote down ballot, which is more important to me than the presidency, because those things impact us sooner and on a bigger level. So yeah, enjoy your day. Like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. Let me know who you're thinking about voting for, or, well, no, don't tell me that. That's your business. But let me know what you think, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.